Hello, everyone. This is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul. I'm a mindset coach, and I'm here with beautiful Nedma. Nedma?
Ne Nedjma.
Nedma. Also,
Impossible to say.
and we are, talking about, really how to, market yourself in a way that's really just, how you are the best marketing tool. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about, what you do, what is your master genius and how did you kind of like fell upon this?
Okay. So from the perspective of having your own business and being an entrepreneur, and try to create not just success on the outside, but success on the inside as well. This is my approach, and this is where I think my genius is being allowed to awaken by looking at the multi-dimensional perspectives of creating success. So when I sent the snippet I sent you was called "You Being Becoming." Your best marketing is being you, and what I really do is basically vibrational marketing, which is really similar to what you do as well. You know, a lot of people do, but I really like that phrase, vibrational marketing, because it's not about ticking boxes. Like, in order to succeed, you need to do this and this and this, and it's not cookie cutter formulas. It's really about what works for you. Put yourself in alignment first. Know yourself. It's like such an incredible, like, I don't understand how people can do business without knowing who they are at soul level. It just seems to me, because I know, how it works, and I know you do too. I just can't understand why would anyone try certain things and fail, try something else and fail, and not know that outer success, outer manifestation is obviously a reflection of what's inside. And if you don't know what your genius is, how is everybody else going to know? So it's as easy as that. And it's like quite the how I came to it, I think, is a bit of a typical story. I'm a typical star seed. It's the term that you hear in spiritual circles, I suppose. One of those children who believed in fairies and was very weird and didn't fit, and then I was just like, why am I on earth? And I kind of like gradually, I had a very intense dreaming life. I'm a lucid dreamer, so I've always traveled other dimensions through my dreams, and everyone has like a really intense mystical spiritual life, and I just had a huge block with the outside world because I studied English literature and it was amazing, but it's like, how am I going to translate all of that I have on the inside, which is a very spiritual nature, and make a living out of it? And I'm still unfolding that big question, but how it happened was I stopped. This is one of the highlights perhaps that people can take away, is like I stopped trying to make plans for it, because I tried very much devising, this is what I'm going to do, and then huge plans, and then when it comes to actually doing it, I was like, oh God, how am I going to do that? And then back to the drawing board, and I really basically let it happen organically. I started a career in web design and digital design, because that was sort of like one foot into the creative side of me, and then one foot in the real world of, having something solid and tangible to offer. So that was kind of like best of both worlds. And from there, it's gradually transformed into, as I was doing people's websites and women entrepreneurs' websites and branding and digital design, we started talking about branding. And at first it was like I was commissioned, like, can I have a banner? I'm like, yeah, okay, you can have a banner. And then, because I've always been intuitive, I started speaking out more of what I could perceive, that, you know, was completely hidden in my client's energy fields and stuff like that. So it all started coming out little by little, and then people were like, they were astounded by the accuracy, and so I gained confidence, and then I could kind of reach into the essence, and then the design started to become really in tune with that kind of like invisible things, and we started talking about well, the why you're doing a banner, you know. why you, so okay, so you want your brand to reflect this and that and this and that, and it was all fine, but I didn't want to like build a facade. I was like, I want to have the conversation of, are you what you're trying to express? You're trying to be, you know, professional and loving and whatever the qualities of the branding is, but are you really embodying these qualities? I wanted to have those conversations, so that's how it started. And now my business looks like, I do digital branding, I do the outside, the visible stuff, but also the invisible stuff. So I guess you could call it mentoring. And so that's where I'm at today.
That's awesome. So it sounds like kind of like things just unfolded. You just said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to follow the flow, figure out as I go. And then things just started to light up, right? Like, oh, you're doing marketing. Oh, you're doing, branding. Oh, I'm doing this, this new way of spiritual branding. So like, I think this is a really good example of like really, really following your alignment to your soul, because your soul will just kind of guide you in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
So when you're like growing up as a child, like, what lit you up? Like, how does that really play into like how you ended up doing these things today?
Yeah. What lit me up there then is what lits me up now. It lits me up now. And it's having these kind of conversations. That's like connecting with others and going really deep. I always had these conversations and talking about magic and dreams and all sorts of, because I guess I always knew that the world is a dream. This reality is a dream. It looks fixed and all that, but I always knew that. I guess I've always been more comfortable in my cosmic self, very much aware that this is one incarnation and we really have to like try to make the most of it and stuff. And yeah, so this is what lights me up, talking about human beings, connecting with human beings, and then creating transformation. And as I talk to people about their expansion, their opening of the heart, and they're having incredible insights and aha moments and seeing that transformation, I just love that. And I love that, when you have these conversations, you change as well. It's just that beautiful process of like resonance. It's just so beautiful. So this is really what lights me up. I like empathy and connection.
So tell us a little bit more, like maybe a vulnerable story about in your life, in your business. Like, what did it feel like when you were misaligned? Like, were there times where you felt like, I don't know what I'm doing? Like, what got you back into your alignment?
This is such an interesting question, because I think the vulnerable side of us and the self-doubt, it's always there. Like if I were to write on paper, I would have I'd have like defining moments, but it's always there. And let's see, I had a little note about it. Not that I shouldn't really have to look at a note, because I just have so many. What could be of use? What did I write? I don't know why I wrote. Okay. What did it feel to be misaligned? I think I'm going to go with that. What did it feel to be misaligned? It definitely felt for me, because I'm so aware of my internal workings, and I got huge amounts of inner questioning. It does feel excruciating to not know who you are. I think a lot of us, especially in this day and age, we just want to know our purpose. what our purpose is. And if that's there since childhood, it becomes this huge theme. And that misalignment means that you don't, every single decision that you make just leads to more misalignment, right? So wrong relationships, very difficult, lots of karma to like clear out and all of that. It's almost like an archetypal story for women. We like, especially if you're sensitive, spiritual, you just pick like the person who's going to bring out everything that you're not, like almost like, and you go into your dark night of the soul, and you don't understand what's wrong with you, etc., only to come out and then realize that everything was perfect. But it takes so long. It takes so long to come out and then realize, not just intellectually, that those hardships have made you who you are. Because I remember like everybody's like, well, yeah, but if you didn't go through that, then you wouldn't. It's like, yeah, thanks, but I just didn't get it. I really didn't get that. It's in the shadows, in the darkness, in the fears, in all of those things that are gifts. That's where they are, literally, because we can't access. Yeah, we just cannot access the next stage until we've seen all of these things. So for me, it was in the field of relationships. Those were really difficult for me, and then so. Yeah, vulnerable times. Like I spent 2 years not knowing what I was doing. I was watching Korean dramas every single night, Japanese and Korean dramas for like 2 years. And I was working like 9 to 5, and sometimes I'd just go to bed like at 5 in the morning. I just had to watch the end of it. I was completely addicted, and I was in this bubble of like trying to heal myself. And I was watching other people's lives, and after the end of 2 years, I thought, okay, something's got to change. I'm not getting younger. I think I was like 30, and I thought, okay, something's going to change. And yeah, I think everything changed for me when I opened my heart for real. For like, I didn't even know what that meant. And I realized that was actually a really scary thing to do, to open to another human being. So I went through all of that. And then as soon as that miracle occurs, like my whole life changed. I don't know if you had a similar story, but it's like meeting your soulmate and connecting, like whoosh into universal love, like not just human love and the drama and all that, but pure love. It's everything like fell into place in my life afterwards, and then obviously that has like a knock-on effect, or it affects your business and what you're trying to do with your money, so, and your prosperity. And so
So tell us more about these gene keys and things like that you were talking about. Like, why is that important to know, like your own in that way, and then how does it have to do with marketing and business?
Yeah. Good question. So you talk about genius, and this is what the relationship with the gene keys, and why I mentioned them to you before our call, is because the gene keys is a set of 64 aspects of consciousnness, and they all relate to gifts that the whole of humanity shares. Some of them are active and some of them are dormant. And basically, you walk this path of self-discovery, self-understanding, understanding yourself, and really owning and knowing who you are. And that unlocks your genius. And so that's also the relationship with your business, in that as soon as your genius unlocks, things become easy. And also with aligning yourself with your genius and who you're designed, how you are designed to be in this world, because it allows us to reclaim our uniqueness. Because my God, we've forgotten what makes us unique. We try very much with our minds to reply to, to try to figure out what makes me unique. You've been like, you've seen those marketers and what makes you unique, and you cannot answer that question with your mind unless you're in maybe a trance state, perhaps, like to go really deep. What makes you unique? So the gene key is allowed to answer that question very clearly and so beautifully. What makes you unique. And then there is even a section on how you're designed to create prosperity. There's a section about purpose, knowing your purpose. Again, like I said, you have to know what your life's work is about and what it is that your soul is wanting to experience. Because if you're aligned with that, synchronicities occur and things can go so fast in your life and your business after that, meeting the right people, right time. And also, it's not just about it's just lots of joy. There's so much joy in walking your path through that. So I was saying there's a section on prosperity. The one thing I find fascinating, so everybody can look at the Gene Keys. This isn't something that I'm holding. It's transmission. And they're not very well known yet, but I think they will be. Everybody can look at their profile, buy the book, and you read about yourself, and then something begins or it doesn't. But what I absolutely love about them is that each of your gift is mapped to a shadow. And up until now, I thought that there were parts of me that had potential in this and this and this and area, and I was good at them. But I didn't know what to focus on in terms of my business. It's like a lot of us are try to have a business that has all of those things at the same time, because we don't want to sacrifice part of us. I'm creative. I can draw. I really can. But I love having intimate conversations with people. We try to make these connections, and we're like, how do I make a business that's all of that? So it answers those questions. Well, not out of the box. You have to have, your own exploration. And so this mapping of gifts with shadows, I love that, because yes, I was saying, I thought I had potential in these areas, and then some part of me was like obstacles and blocks, and I just didn't know how to get rid of them. And they were separate in my mind. And since the Gene Keys, I've learned that each of them has a pair. So, for example, I regularly go completely numb and I have no energy. Like I'm completely flat out. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I feel so lazy and this and that. And, I've got a lot of self-talk about it. And it actually connects with my life's work. And to see it in writing, to see that it's supposed to be there and it works hand in hand with this gift, and that if you embrace this, then the gift is allowed to flourish more. You have so many aha moments, as a result. So 11 gifts, 11 shadows. And so the shadows no longer become like flies in your field of vision. They are little magical baby dragons that are just waiting to transform into magical creatures. So that's really what I love best about the Gene Keys.
It's amazing. It really sounds kind of similar to like what I've created with my soul alignment blueprints, because I just made it up, but was all based upon, here is your unique design. And then there are shadows of your superpower. There are unique ways that you like to express yourself, but there's also another part of you that, like, when you balance these parts, like, then you'll find, that alignment. But when you have like one part that's, for example, really organized, right? And then the other part that's super like organic, like if you have those two parts, part of your blueprints, you're going to have to balance that. Understanding that you have this gift and you have this shadow, like, really does help you to like focus on what you need to focus on, right? And then feeling the balance between both, like between those two contrasting parts of yourself. So it sounds like when you talk about the Gene Keys, you have to understand this is like the good part of you, but this is also the sucky part, but that comes with the gift.
Yeah, it comes with it, absolutely. And it allows you to become a whole again. And if until you're whole, you can't expand. It would make no sense. An organism doesn't expand like on this side. It's just like the whole thing expands. So I'm not surprised that you're hearing similarities, because the Gene Keys is plugged into universal wisdom, and so are you. So of course you're gonna find the same, the same teaching.
So how do you define that success? You know, since, you know, you've gone that one way of like going into the marketing world and, you know, learning that part, the masculine part. And then now you're like really, really exploring the spiritual and then bringing it all together. So like, how do you define success? And, you know, the pain that you endured, like, how did that help you to define what it is for you now?
I think 10 or 15 years ago, I had a completely different definition and vision of what success was, because I was loaded with frustration. But and but today, success has become really something really, really simple, and it's simply to have the freedom to create what you want to create, and then enjoy the fruits of your creation, which I think is what the whole existence is about. I think this is what God in the divine is doing with life. There's a deep sense of wonder, like evolution, a wonder about what's going to happen next. Creation, and then enjoying this creation. It's an essential definition. I'm going to the essence of success, and I can see, and I feel quite free as well, that it's very simple definition. And it, you know what I mean? Just what else is there but freedom and creativity? Well, from my perspective, but this is what I see, and it hasn't always been like that.
Because that comes from your heart, like that comes from a place of, you know, like, I'm being guided to create this because I'm the creation of the creator. So if I can really move into that freedom space, and sometimes it's not, you know, it doesn't look very tangible, like you make a painting or you make, you know, certain thing. It could just be like your creation is like spending time with your family, you know?
Exactly. If creation, it's like, oh my God, I've done an apple tart with apples from my garden and I'm so happy. Isn't it? It's very simple.
Yes.
But it's,
yeah. And I think when you're able to like say that that's what success looks like, it's like success is simple, business is simple, things are simple. I think you achieve a higher level of consciousness, because I think this is what, you know, Source created us as, you know, like defining the undefined, because there are things everywhere around us that's just so beautiful, but we never really recognize how beautiful and compassionate, you know, how empathetic you can be to feel that connection, because that connection doesn't come from your head, it comes from deep within your soul, from your heart. So when you see life as beautiful success already, you know, then what else is there but creation itself?
Yeah. It allows you to be in the moment, to stop chasing that one day I'll be this or that. It is always in the now, isn't it? Always in the body. And it allows you to understand that alignment ultimately is about being aligned with your divine self, which is itself a reflection of the wider divinity. It's a completely different, you become a multi-dimensional human being. And in order to access that kind of consciousness, there's for me, I went into quite a lot of complexity and having lots and lots and lots of data, and then all of a sudden the data interconnects in so many ways that everything drops into simplicity. So I'm
Yes. That's really how God and Source created us. It's like this complex thing, but it's very simple at the same time.
Yeah, microcosm, exactly.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone, you know, who really wants to get in alignment, you know, with their genius, like you have started to like figure out that true journey? Like, what helped you decide to do that work that you love, right? That to create this new soul aligned life and business that you truly want to be like an expert in your industry. Like, what advice would you give to someone who really is ready to take those steps, or maybe even on that journey and just don't know how?
or has already some experience, but yeah. So I can think of three things. One thing that's personal to me, which people forget, because for me it's a huge part of my life, is dreaming, like real dreams that you have at night. It's a very easy way to listen to your soul, because we dismiss them. We're in a culture that dismisses dreams, whereas in traditional cultures a long time ago, they'd have these conversations. We're all shamans. We really are. We do all travel at night, faraway places. We come back, and if we are a little bit aware, some seeps through our normal day-to-day consciousness. So the questions to have, what are, especially around that are the I'm trying to, my mouth is going slower than my thoughts. Repetitive patterns, repetitive dreams, especially. So what do you always dream of? Do you always dream of flying? That you're flying over, landscapes or the sky? Do you always fight? Do you fight? Like, I have dreams of repetitive. I fight for freedom. That's my thing. I'm like, no, you cannot, enslave us. You can enslave my body, but you will never enslave my soul, those kind of dreams. So, and I have lots and lots of different scenarios on different planets with fighting different aliens, but that's a theme, and it means something. And do you always fall in love? So these repetitive dreams, they're like little highlights about what your soul really, really wants to experience. And it's kind of like a creative, new, novel place that some of people who might be listening could explore, because it's unusual, I think. And then another thing is to discover the Gene Keys. I have no affiliation with them. I think I'm going to ask, but to go to genekeys.com and then just check it out, because it's beautiful. Get somebody, a professional, like Akashic record reader, such as yourself, to do a profile. It's just, for me, it's been a defining, like a big moment, a turning point. I had it done with like a man from Portugal who is very gifted, but I basically had a panic attack reading his, because the downloads were so intense from the 5th and 6th dimensions that it was so much to take, but it changed my life. So it's not, I know it's a bit of an investment, but it can literally change my life, right? And I know you know that. What else did they think of what they can do? Yes, and it's what I said earlier, is to stop trying to figure out the answers from the outside in, and like being always in the mind. So there's a moment in our lives where listening to the mind doesn't work anymore, and we know that if we want change, we're gonna have to do something different, and dropping in the heart. And it means not knowing what the hell is going to happen. You just don't know. And accepting that your heart is going to lead you to where you need to be, one step at a time. This is the hardest thing for me, like one step at a time. Because my mind wants to know where I'm going on step 10, like, no, I'm not taking this first step. You need to tell me what happens on step 15, please. Your mind's like that. And you have to accept to let that go and just do that one step at a time. And then once you're there, your heart's going to give you that other step. And it's so hard, but so powerful.
I love that. It's so true. We need to dream.
Yeah.
We don't even dream, I think, on purpose, or even explore that. And, utilizing your uniqueness, right? What your gifts are, seeing what it is, and then like going for that direction and just allowing it to unfold. So like, that's a very, it's a very alignment way. When you're aligning, you don't know what the end result is, and you don't know where that's going to end up. But what you do know is that it's always for the better good. So that's the whole faith thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be shown anyway, right? So it's better to like let it unfold like faster than like if you tried to block it for like 10 years of blocking, your alignment.
Yes.
just allowing it to just unfold like after a couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, you sound like you've done it, you've walked this path, and it just like the trust that you have, I can hear it in your voice. It's lovely. And I can also think that other people who come to you would go, but Leimomi, how? That's like this question, how do I do it? You have to start little by little. You said, like, you get it. I guess it's practicing letting go. Isn't that crazy that we have to practice just being outside of our own way? Just like try and then look back and go, did you die? No. Okay, carry on.
yeah, and facing all those fears and like relearning to live a different way. That is true soul alignment, like learning to live from within rather than, like you said, in the outside in, from what feels right, what is good for you and your family, making key decisions, not running away from it. I don't mean that. I mean, like going from a place of, this is just how I know I want to show up. And when you show up that way, then all the people, places, and things just all make sense. They come together. And I really believe like everything comes together in the right timing, in the right place. So there's nothing to worry about. But I know for very left brain people who might be listening to this episode will be like, yeah.
Yeah, that is, I know, but it is the place of where miracles, magic, manifestation, you have to live it to believe it.
Yeah.
And for when you haven't walked the path, when you haven't dropped into the heart, because it's another dimension that's being hidden from you, you see literally nothing. You see chaos, you see the void. But when you're in it, you can describe the current of life. You can describe this whole current, this whole energy that supports you. You can describe it, but it is actually quite tangible when you're in it. But from the outside, it just looks like you're talking about, clouds. No, we're not talking about clouds there.
So any last words, any last things you want to share for our audience? Do you have maybe a gift or something that, about the gene keys and things?
Yes, I think that's, so I've explored the gene keys for a little while now, and I'm offering anyone sort of like a short profile, because when you go onto the website and you do your profile, it's a bit cryptic unless you've read quite intensely and you've really immersed yourself in them deeply. Because I've done that and I know my own profile, I want to help other people understand what their profile means, basically. So I have a page where you can enter your details, your birth details, because it is based on astrology and on I Ching, and then I send an email saying, hi, this is what I saw. And then if you're interested in doing, I'm just so happy to just do that, because some people have told me how that answers so many questions. And then if you want to do anything afterwards regarding your branding, then I'm here for that conversation. The website is Stellar by Design, all attached, stellarbydesign.space. That's the page.
Yeah, I think everybody should jump on this opportunity, because she just did mine, and I was like, yeah, this totally makes sense. This is exactly the way I've been, living aligned to my soul, and it's just nice to see, actual profile and then each part of it, like how they all go together. And I think, of course, it's just like my soul alignment process. It's like really complex, so you cannot digest everything all in one little email, but just seeing what the potential is, I think is so important for people to see it.
For looking at what you do, and I guess the real journey is after the blueprint, because you can tell people literally what their soul's purpose is, and you have okay, now what? You're like, how do I? Because then you have to walk it, right? You have to embody it. It has to unfold and awaken and activate in a graceful way. And that's really, so the blueprint is just the map, and then the journey. It's good to be surrounded by people who are walking their own journeys and can articulate things that we all experience and be guides in that respect. So thank you.
Well, thank you for taking, time to do this for my audience. And I do you have like any other like things that you want to share too? Any last words?
No, I'm happy. Apologies for like doing this recording from my utility room.
I know, like happens, and you have to like try your.
I didn't want to wake my kids up, everyone. So that's why.
All right. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for taking time with us, and for all of you guys who are listening. We are talking about deep things, about different ways of soul alignment, because I really wanted to get other people to share how their alignment is and what their gifts are and how that all works all together with, creating life on purpose. And so, every episode we talk about these amazing people who do amazing things in their own work. And so if you really want to, get to know more about any of my interviewees, feel free to reach out to them or to go on their website, and like how she has given us an amazing tool, until that next time when we meet again. I hope that this gave you some kind of like enlightenment of where you need to go towards your goal and towards your alignment. And so till next time, see you guys all. Have a beautiful day. Aloha.
Bye.